evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the English News from Djibouti channels. We will begin our news edition with the titles. The headlines are about scientists are alerting to the possible transmissions of the coronavirus in the air. That were our titles. Let's get to the details. Under the chairmanship of His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, President of the Republic, head of the government, the 12th sessions of the Council of Ministers was held this Tuesday, July 7th, 2020. The following texts were examined and approved. For more details, let's follow the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the spokesperson of the government, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf.
Rahman Rahim, sous la présidence du chef de l'État, Son Excellence Monsieur Ismail Omar Guelleh.
Under the chairmanship of His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, President of the Republic, Head of Government, the 12th session of the Council of Ministers was held this Tuesday, July 7, 2020. Ministry of Muslim Affairs. First question. The draft law on the recognition of the Ministry of Muslim Affairs, Culture and Waqfs, Property. The purpose of the bill is to recognize the Ministry of Muslim Affairs, Culture and Waqf Property, which is a department that elaborates and implements the government's policy in the field of the organization of religious space, the promotion of cultural action and the enhancement of the heritage and the development of Waqf properties. This project takes place in a particular context marked by a change in the institutional, religious and cultural landscape. It responds to the orientations given by the President of the Republic with a view to instilling the necessary dynamism to achieve the expected objectives. This new text will give the ministry, within the framework of its attribution and prerogatives, the necessary tools through the implementation of the national cultural policy, which will henceforth give more visibility to cultural emergence at the regional level, to the establishment of Al-Wastaniya Institute for the Culture of Peace, with the aim of promoting religious discourse based on openness and balance. It is intended to become a regional center for the country's influence. Thus, it is planned to establish the Djibouti Institute of Arts and Cinematography, the National Library and Archives, and the National Museum of Djibouti. Ministry of the Interior. Second question. Draft decree on the modalities of access, exploitation, and communication of the National Register of Natural Persons. The purpose of the draft decree is to establish the legal and regulatory framework and determine the modalities of access, operation, and communication of the National Register of Natural Persons. This register is a digital instrument that consists in providing a unique national identification number in order to provide a better guarantee of the security of administrative and identity documents of users of the Djiboutian administration. Its main objective is to update the biometric data of individuals and also to produce reliable demographic statistics in order to assist the socio-economic development of our country. This draft decree is being put in place with a view to responding to the difficulties related to the lack of an interconnection system aimed at creating better collaborations and coordination among the various institutions in order to harmonize their respective missions by protecting data from all forms of fraud and falsification. Third question. Draft decree on the composition, characteristics, and scope of application of the National Identification Number. In application of Law Number 39/N/19/8L, this draft decree aims to define the composition, characteristics, and fields of application of the National Identification Number. The government wants to improve the operational efficiency of the administration, ensure a maximum level of security against fraud, usurpation, and identity theft. It plans to respond to this scourge by creating a secure and reliable infrastructure. The National Identification Number remains a secure and unique number for every Djiboutian, but also for foreigners with specific references. The identification number has 12 positions corresponding to the civil statute data of individuals, country of birth, month and year of birth. Thus, every person will be identified from birth by his or her number and registered in the National Register of Natural Persons. It constitutes a basic personal identifier for the entire administration and applies to all Djiboutian citizens from the moment of their birth and to foreign nationals from the moment of their entry to the national territory.
The draft decree set out of the organizational and operational procedures of the National Statistical Institute of Djibouti was discussed during the meeting. For more details, let's follow the second part.
History of the economy and finance responsible for industry. Fourth question, draft degree on the statute of the National Institutes of Statistics of Djibouti. The draft degree sets out the organizational and operational procedures of the National Statistical Institute of Djibouti, which is a public administrative institution established by Act number 26/N/18/8L. The purpose of the draft degree is to approve the statutes of the National Statistical Institute, which include organizational and operational rules. The Institute's mission is to implement government policy in the area of statistics. It is responsible for producing, analyzing, and disseminating official statistics and conducting periodic or ad hoc surveys of general interests among enterprises or households. The adoption of the draft degree is aimed at establishing an effective organizational tool for this structure. Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training. Fifth question, draft degree creating and defining the conditions for access to and delivery of the Djibouti High School Leaving Certificate. The purpose of the draft degree is to create and define the conditions for access to and issuance of the secondary school leaving certificate entitled Djibouti High School Leaving Certificate. This certificate is intended for students attending school in refugee villages. The creation of this diploma is part of the commitments made by the President of the Republic at the Summit of Heads of State in September 2016, following which our country adopted the New York Declaration for Refugees and Migrants and the Djibouti Declaration of 2017 for the integration of refugee schools into the national education systems of the IGAD countries. This draft degree strengthens the legal framework for refugees and also facilitates access to social services, including education, health, and employment opportunities. The issuance of certification. National Secondary School Leaving Certificate that will provide refugee students with access to better future perspectives, such as higher education, vocational training, and scholarships. Ministry of Equipment and Transport. Sixth question, draft degree establishing the framework for the supervision of civil aviation safety in Djibouti. Seventh question, draft degree on the appointment, conditions, and qualification criteria of CAA inspectors. The Ministry of Equipment and Transport presented two draft degrees. The first day lays down the modalities of application of law number 152/N/11/6L on the Civil Aviation Code. It designates the Civil Aviation Authority as the competent authority for the supervision of civil aviation in the Republic of Djibouti. Also, in its capacity as guarantor of compliance with specific aeronautical regulations in accordance with the standards and recommended practices of the International Civil Aviation Organization. It shall highlight all the tasks assigned to its inspectors and the conditions under which the privileges granted to legal or natural persons are governed and the rules governing air traffic toward the national territory. This draft degree will make it possible to raise the level of safety by ensuring the safety and supervision of the continuous operation of service by the various actors in the aeronautical field. The second draft concerns the appointment, condition, and qualification criteria for civil aviation authority inspectors in order to comply with the international requirements governing air transport through the ICAO standards and recommended practices on the one hand, and to rise our country to a level of compliance through which it will benefit unequivocally. On the other hand, it is necessary to appoint and train inspectors with the framework governing the qualification of inspectors in a uniform manner at the international level. This draft degree sets out the selection criteria, the competence required, and the qualifications that they will have to obtain in order to have the title of principal inspectors and thus carry out the missions assigned to their duties. Ministry of Labor Reform in charge of the administration. Draft appointment degree. Mr. Ibrahim Abdul Qadir Burhan is appointed Administrative and Financial Director at the Ministry of Energy in charge of natural resources. Communication. As part of the economic revival, the government has decided to open the air borders from 17 July 2020. This decision is motivated by health situation under control in the country. The Minister of Health made a communication on the evolution of the situation of the COVID-19 pandemic in our country. Currently, more than 48,000 tests have been carried out, and the positivity rate is about 10%. He reported a significant drop in the number of cases in intensive care units. He also informed that the government had decided to set up a passenger reception center for COVID-19 screening at the airport. This will ensure that all passengers arriving from abroad will be tested for COVID-19 PCR to ascertain their status. He noted that the government, by imposing testing on all persons entering the country, intends to prevent the introduction of new cases. It will also be possible for travelers departing from Djibouti and in accordance with their regulations of the country of destination to obtain the results of a PCR test carried out within 72 hours. before the planned date of departure. In accordance with the international health regulations, all preventative measures have been taken to contain the spread of the coronavirus.
As part of the economic revival, the government had decided to open the air border from 17 July 2020. This decision is motivated by the health situation currently in our country. In the country, the Minister of Health made a communication on the evaluation of the situation of the COVID-19 pandemic in our country. Currently, more than 48,000 tests have been carried out, and the positivity rate is about 10%. He reported a significant drop in the number of cases in intensive care units. He also informed that the government has decided to set up a passenger receptions center for COVID-19. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, participated yesterday through the video conference in the 19th sessions of the Forum on Sino-Arab Corporations. This meeting, aimed at further strengthening Arab-Chinese cooperation, was chaired by the Jordan and China. In the speech, the head of Djibouti's diplomacy stressed that the Arab-Chinese Cooperation Forum has become the symbol of practical and collective corporations. Under the supervision of the Chief Medical Officer of Obokh Health Regional, Dr. Dimbio, a blood donation session was organized at the Obokh Hospital Medical Center. This time it was a time to donate their precious liquid in order to save human life. A team from the National Blood Transfusion Center came exclusively to collect blood under the supervision of the Chief Medical Officer of the MHC of Obokh. The Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, together with the Secretary of State in charge of decentralization, is conducting biometric registrations and enrollment operation in the north, including the white city of Tadjoura. This was followed by working visits by the Secretary General of the two ministerial departments with the local officials and the local population in order to inform and popularize the registrations process. On continental news, more than 230 international scientists warned in a letter on Monday 6 about airborne transmissions of COVID-19, the transmissions of viral particles in the air, not just by projecting droplets, but also in other phases or surfaces. Here we arrive at the end of this news edition. Thank you for watching us. Goodbye.